Right, so we will be going over the greatest right fielders of all time. We would have a list acquired and we'll go over our top 10. Our methodology, how we determined our starting list, basically we just did a simple Google search of the top right fielders of all time with sources like ESPN, Yahoo, you name it. And we awarded points. Basically, we picked about 9 or 10 select statistics. And we looked at how many times these players finished in the top 5 for this respective stat. And we kind of awarded them points in similar to a track format in that we awarded first place more points and second as well. So first place would get 7, second would get 5, third, fourth, fifth were 3, 2, 1. And yes, this does reward longevity because we emphasize finishing the best in the most amount of years. So the longer you play, assuming that you finish in the top 5 more, the more likely you are to score more points. And of course, those who are known cheaters are excluded from this ranking at Sammy Sosa and others like him.
Okay, so for our top 16 considerations, we, like Jacob said, we pulled from numerous lists like MLB.com, ESPN, Baseball Egg, and these are the 16 candidates that we collected statistics on. Notable names include Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Al Kaline, Mookie Betts, Paul Wainer. So these are the candidates that we considered for our top 10 list.
All right, so we got batting average is the first statistic we used. And you'll notice there's 2 that scored quite a bit higher than everybody else. And that is Tony Gwynn with 55 and Roberto Clemente with 43. Next stats on base percentage. You'll notice Babe Ruth is more than 4 times as many points as second place with 82, including 10 first place finishes. Slugging percentage is a similar story where Ruth has more than twice as many points as second place. He's got 12 first place finishes. Though in this case, Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson also have a good amount of points in slugging percentage.
And moving on to fielding percentage, we have quite a wide mix here. Mel Ott scored a total of 45. Looks like Paul Wainer had 42. A couple others in the 30s would be Al Kaline and Dave Winfield. There were actually, it looks like 5 different players on this list who actually did not ever appear in the top 5 in their career. And surprisingly, that's Babe Ruth, considering he got the most points out of everybody. This is kind of funny. And moving on to runs batted in, Babe Ruth, again, was topping the charts at 57 points. Hank Aaron, no surprise, coming in second place with 36 total points, 9 combined first place finishes between the 2 of them. Frank Robinson also appearing with 18 at third on this list. And moving on to championships, we gave 3 points to every championship that was won by a player. Babe Ruth, yes, won 7 titles. Reggie Jackson won 5. Robinson won 2. A few other players on this list also won 2 or 1. But many of these players actually never won a championship.
So next we have MVPs. This is a great individual award to see whether a player performed the best in a given season. So 5 points was awarded for each time a player was crowned MVP in his respective league. And some notable things, Frank Robinson is the only one who won 2 MVPs, but most notably is Babe Ruth only won 1 MVP. And this is because at the time of the MVP award during his era of baseball, they could only win it once. Once they won it once, they were banned from winning it again. So obviously, if they allowed him to win multiple MVPs, he probably would have won it every season he played. Next, we have runs. And obviously, once again, we see the usual suspects. Babe Ruth by far leading. Hank Aaron also with 30 points. Frank Robinson put up great numbers. And then also Mookie Betts, one of the only current players that we considered, was also putting up great numbers in runs. And next, the big one for right fielders, the home runs. Since many of these guys were heavy hitters, a lot of points were racked up in home runs. So Babe Ruth, once again, almost tripling and doubling any other person's numbers. He finished in first place 11 times in the league for home runs. Another interesting thing we noticed was that Hank Aaron only led the league in home runs once. And the reason he was able to rack up so many points and rack up so many home runs is because of the longevity of his career, and finishing so often in second, third, fourth, and fifth. Another notable one was Mel Ott and Reggie Jackson also finished with plus 20 points. And then finally, we have offensive WAR. This is kind of gauging how many more games they would have won or how much they improved over a replacement with their offensive statistics. So once again, Babe Ruth dominating the category with 72 points, finishing first 7 times. Mel Ott, Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson also finishing in first for offensive WAR. But noticeably, it's staggering to see how much Babe Ruth was gaining points in these categories. It was phenomenal to see.
All right, so for the top 10 fielders of all time list, you'll see Babe Ruth has more than doubled Hank Aaron. And if you take 2, 3, and 4 combined, it's still not as many points as Ruth got. But our top 10 list is Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, Mel Ott, Larry Walker, Tony Gwynn, Mookie Betts, Paul Wainer, Roberto Clemente, and Al Kaline. And from 7 to 10, there's only a 4-point gap between the 4 of them. So it was really close at the end.
And to focus in more on our top 3, in third place, we had Frank Robinson. He had a very nice career in the MLB, playing for 21 seasons from 1956 to 1976. And in his career, he had a total of 586 home runs, which is good for 10th all time. And his career OBP is .389. So more than a third of the time of his at-bats, he was reaching base. And he appeared 7 times in the top 5 to earn him a grand total of 19 points. And he also had 7 top 5 finishes in slugging percentage, including 3 first place finishes, and he amassed a total of 32 points there. And he earned 26 additional points from fielding percentage, finishing first and second twice each, and finishing in 4th place 1 time. He also obtained 18 points from RBIs and had 3 second place finishes. And yes, he was a 2-time World Series champion and also won MVP twice. And as we already mentioned, he was the only player on this list to win MVP multiple times. But again, back then, you could only win it 1 time throughout your entire career. So this number might have been a little different if it was different back then. And he had 14 more points from home runs, led the league only once actually, despite ranking 10th all time on the list of home runs. And funny enough, he actually scored points in every single statistic we used.
Next is on to hammering Hank Aaron. And once again, we're rewarding longevity. Hank Aaron played 23 Major League Baseball seasons from 1954 to 1976. And the most impressive statistic Hank Aaron had was his 755 home runs. When he finished his career, he was the home run leader. And some interesting things, once again, he only led the league in home runs once. And he was in the top 5 11 times in his career with 4 second place finishes for home runs. He also gained significant points from his runs batted in, his runs scored, and his offensive WAR. He led the league in RBIs 4 times, and he was in the top 5 9 times for runs and offensive WARs. Now, some categories he underperformed in was on base percentage. He only scored 2 points, meaning that he finished in 4th place 1 time in his career. And then his fielding percentage, he only got 13 points from that. So he was truly an offensive powerhouse.
All right, Babe Ruth played in 22 seasons from 1914 to 1935. And throughout the beginning of his career, he was a pitcher more than he was a right fielder. So he didn't hit as much in the beginning. But even with that, from the span from 26 to 34, he hit more home runs than the entire Washington Senators team combined, 343 to 327. In 1921, he hit 59 home runs, which is more than every other team except the Phillies, who hit 64. He gained points from all categories except fielding percentage and led the league in a stat we tracked 53 times, which is enough points just with the first place finishes to have more than 1.5 times Hank Aaron's total points. And his biggest things he got was 97 from home runs and 96 from slugging percentage.
Well, there we have it, our top 10 right fielders of all time.